And who else could get weirder than Ed Shemp? Sorry for butchering your name. I don't know what to even call this. Yeah, maybe don't put anything else in your pocket if you're carrying that one. Hey everybody, I'm Seth V for the Knife Center, and today's our favorite day of the week because it's New Knives Day. Let's see the coolest new knives that have just hit our shelves.
Again.
First, we've got a couple of Spydercos, and I'm very excited to finally see this knife on the new knives table. This is the Paramilitary 2 Lightweight. We've had a few small batches of these come and go, but now they are here in enough quantity to stick around in stock at least long enough to make it to the table. So let's talk about what makes this knife special. First, the asking price is $151.50, which I believe makes this the most affordable Paramilitary 2 you can get. Comes in with 3.5 inches of BD1N steel and lightweight molded handles. Much like the Paramilitary, or the Para 3 before it, this kind of evolution, new lightweight version of the Para 2 platform is much lighter and more affordable. It's got a wire pocket clip instead of the traditional spoon style clip on the original. Of course, it's ambidextrous, but unlike the standard G10 Para 2, it's not flippable for tip down carry. What I really like though is that lightweight. It's very well balanced. It sits in the hand in a totally kind of like neutral balanced position there. When you choke up, you know, you have, you're so close to the edge there for fine control. Plenty of space for a full-size grip in the rear position as well. I don't need to tell you about the Para 2. This is a classic, a beloved knife for decades now. This is just the lightest weight and most affordable version yet. One thing I do like though, that is a little bit of a change from the lightweight Para 3 to this, is the action. To me, it feels a little smoother, a little more stable, and if I had to guess, it's because there are now two bronze washers on one on either side of the pivot. So it's got a balanced, smooth action, and they've still managed to keep the interior liners as absolutely minimal as possible. All the steel here, other than what's in the blade and the hardware, is a tiny little liner that runs on this side of the handle that powers the compression lock, and a little bit of steel around the pivot to brace the blade and support the lateral loads from the lock and from working with it. It feels great, works great. Now it's in stock.
And gone.
Yeah. Definitely don't wait on that one too long because they are moving fast. The next Spyderco is going to get a little weird with it. And who else could get weirder than Ed Shemp, a longtime Spyderco collaborator, a lover of all things odd looking, but very effective. I think that's what makes Ed Shemp's designs so interesting and so popular all these years later. Yes, they don't look like much else on the market, but they surprise you in use. This is the Retract. It comes in at $71.25. We've got 3.4 inches of 9CR 18 MOV steel, G10 handles, wire pocket clip, liner lock. This is a made in China knife, and it sort of follows Spyderco's made in China platform, I guess, in the G10 and the liner lock. We do get the upgraded blade steel, which is nice. And this is very reminiscent of Ed Shemp's old Cutlery design with Spyderco. If you remember that one, it was different, but it had definitely a very similar blade shape. This negative angle to the blade dips down like a Nepalese Cutlery and provides a very interesting kind of cutting ergonomics as you're working with it. It almost behaves, I haven't used this one, but I have used some of Ed Shemp's other designs, and they almost behave like a recurve, the way that they kind of capture materials as you move through them. It's a very satisfying feeling to cut with a knife that's designed like this, and I expect this one will feel that way too. Nice, effective flat grind here. Still a decent blade stock thickness, so this one feels like a worker. It's very sturdy. I like the wire clip, very comfortable. Good action, detent, well built, and a pretty decent price too. All right, the next new arrival is from Kansept. This here is the QTRO, spelled QTRO, designed by Luft Concepts. And this thing is a crossbar lock, hawkbill blade folder coming in at $199.89 with Damascus steel, titanium bolsters and liners, titanium frame. The liners are integral to the bolsters there, and carbon fiber scales. Nice milled titanium clip on this too with hidden hardware. When it's closed, the presentation in the pocket is going to be super clean and sleek. Really nice looking blade. Easy to deploy with the oversized thumb hole. Snappy crossbar lock. I like the oversized pivot collar. Very stylish piece here that also is going to have a ton of aggressive cutting power with that hawkbill blade. Plenty of space to choke up into right behind the blade there. You got the unguarded choil that's still plenty big enough for my finger. Feels very, very balanced in this grip and feels like I've got some good reach back here. Yeah, kind of like a dressy tactical folder, especially in this Damascus. I think it's a pretty cool concept from Luft Concepts. From Kansept's affordable sister brand Tenable, we've got a new arrival in this Entity here. This is going to come in at $78.89. We've got aluminum handles, nice milled grip texture on there, and 14C 28N steel. Number of these variants available now. We've got some stonewash blades, some black blades, different colored aluminum handles, but all with this great button lock flipping action. It's a very satisfying flipper. The flipper tab is quite oversized, so it's easy, dead easy to get this thing open. Nice ergonomics too. Kind of like a bit of width to the handle, even though it's somewhat thin, so very hand-filling. Good deep carry pocket clip, not reversible. Ball bearing pivot. Yeah, got a good feel to it. And even though the aluminum has some slickness, as some aluminum handles do, this grip texture is genuinely grippy. You know, you can feel the texture from it, so it's got a nice gripitude to it. Yeah, check these out. These are new arrivals. The designer, too, is someone I had not heard of yet, so let me share the name. Nalu Boersma. Sorry for butchering your name, Nalu, but you designed a sweet knife. Also new from Tenable is this, the new Heron crossbar lock. This comes in at $67.89 with Nitro V steel and, again, milled aluminum handles. This one's a little smaller, obviously, maybe a little more EDC oriented, but we've still got plenty of handle real estate thanks to the finger choil that allows me to comfortably choke up. It might be, it's just bordering on small for like the full width of my finger here in this grip, but it's more than enough in my middle knuckle and fingertip. So it's got a good feeling of precision in those pinch grips as you're working with it like this. I like it, the blade shape especially for that. I don't know what to even call this. It's thin at the tip, somewhat like a Wharncliffe, but broad like a sheep's foot.
Just lump it in the grab bag of reverse tanto.
No, there's no secondary point on the... Blade taxonomy
We take all types, man.
is useless at this point. The blade shape's going to work for you. It's a good utilitarian shape. It's an extra dropped point, a droppist point, perhaps. Whatever you call it. It's utilitarian. It's nice, high saber grind for effective slicing. Thin behind the edge for sure. Yeah, this is a worker. Quite like the colorway on this version too. I like that they've matched the color of the liners to the blade and all the hardware. It's very satisfying. Somewhat of a smaller crossbar on this crossbar lock, but it protrudes enough that I have no trouble using it for that centrifugal opening. Nice deep carry pocket clip and comfy, just simple handles. It's a good EDC. All right, the last and most affordable Tenable knife on the table is a new version of the Shard, coming in at just $49.89, and frankly, quite psychotic colorway here. We've got multicolored printed G10 handles with something that looks like a face staring back at me, and then...
Sees my soul.
Yeah. This one is wild. This is for the adventurous knife collector for sure. Mismatched hardware. I like the theme of it. It's a fun knife, and the colorway is fun, but the design, the silhouette here is actually pretty straightforward. You've got a, what's the blade shape? Bingo. We've got one here. Good length of it, 3.5 inches, 14C28N steel, crossbar lock, simple, straightforward handle. This one is wild on the outside, but kind of just like a humble working knife on the inside. Pretty cool combo. All right, next we're diverting into fixed blades for a moment here with a very cool new knife from Petrified Fish. This here is the Barracuda, and it comes in at $92.70. It is doing something pretty interesting with the handles there. Look at how the tang is fully encapsulated between these two slabs of micarta. Okay, so I believe, based on a cursory magna testing, that the tang does run to that third bolt, but this piece is actually separate. This is definitely anodized aluminum, at least it's non-magnetic, which gives the handle a pop of color and supports your lanyard attachment point without needing to be a piece of hardened steel. But let's talk about how it feels, because I also really like the ergonomics of this thing. The encapsulated tang gives you a nice, seamless kind of warmth to it. It's a flat slab-like handle, but the shape of it is very comfortable, and it's got a nice taper here to support some pinch grips. This would be a good belt knife, EDC, fixed blade, decent hunter too, I think, especially with the high saber grind for effective cutting. It's doing a lot of things well. I wouldn't even be mad at this as like a EDC survival knife. It's not the toughest, most robust, bulletproof, SE style knife out there, but this broad blade with that high flat grind is surprisingly tough. N690 steel is decent stuff too. It's stainless, decent edge retention, decent toughness. For the asking price of $92.70, I quite like this. As for the sheath, it is Kydex with a couple of Scout-style retention straps. Good snap to it. Cool new fixed blade. All right, brace yourselves for the name of this next one, because we've got a lot of letters in succession that I'm not sure that they actually form words. So this here is the from Prometheus Design Works, the SPD STS-SFLT fixed blade. You tell me what that stands for, but what we have here is an ultralight MagnaCut full tang fixed blade. Well, except for this void in the handle there. Hollow tang fixed blade, made in Maniago. A pretty cool kind of concept here. The asking price is $195, and clearly this is meant to be an ultralight blade. Ultralight, easy to carry, but still with some genuine toughness and survivability chops, right in line with the rest of Prometheus Design Works' stuff. Kind of a tactical flair to it as well with the small dual guards. They are just enough to give your finger something to brace against, but definitely not too big that it gets in the way when you want to reach over it for, a carving grip or something like that. Yeah, this is kind of a hybrid design. You've got some ultra concealable, ultra flat tactical DNA, but kind of a survival vibe too. The sheath on this one is going to be this orange Kydex here. Out of the box, it's set up for right side belt carry, but it comes with a second left-handed clip for anyone who wants to carry it inside the waistband or on the left side. I like the handle wrap they did on this. It's just enough to give you some kind of texture to work with. That void in the handle would make this easy to lash to something if you wanted to, have some fun survival knife practice with it. MagnaCut steel, of course, plenty tough, amazingly stainless. A great choice for a design like this. And just a cool new offering from PDW. All right, but let's go full tactical for a minute, because what we have here is a Halo 4 from Marfione Customs. Marfione Customs means that this is going to be hand ground and hand finished which means that the price is going to be $1,885. $1,885. We've got M390 MK blade with this stunning polished cracked ice finish with satin flats. But the Halo 4 is new to me. I had not handled this iteration of the Halo, and I have to say I am immediately blown away. I really like the changes that have come to this generation of Microtech's single action out the front auto. We've got a pocket clip now. I believe previous iterations did not have pocket clips. Maybe the 3 did, but correct me if I'm wrong on that one. It's Microtech's newest pocket clip with the oversized ceramic ball there. It works great. But I also like how thin and lightweight this version is. As you can see, we've got these kind of vented holes in the spine there, and it actually allows you to watch the blade retract when you go to recharge it with the handle. See that? Pretty sweet. Oh man, single actions hit so hard. They are noticeably faster than double action automatics. Probably because the springs only have to work one way. So the way that these, this is actually now charged with that handle in the closed position. It is ready to fire when you press that button and the springs kick it out, and it will not retract until you manually do it. One thing I wanted to check and show off on camera for you people, because this version does not have a secondary safety on the button. Let's see if it fires when the button goes flush. It does not fire when the button goes flush. So hopefully that's a little bit of reassurance for folks who are interested to actually carry this in their pocket. You do have to be quite deliberate and push the button in until it's fully depressed before that blade goes bang.
But what else do you put in your pocket with that?
Yeah, maybe don't put anything else in your pocket if you're carrying that one.
Thank you. Buy that, you can afford lots of pockets.
True. Just like going to a tailor and be like, can you put an extra pocket on these pants for my knife for me?
Put an extra pocket in this pocket.
Yeah. I'm sure somebody out there has done it. All right, next we have some new versions of the Socom Delta RAM lock that just hit the site. This version has M390 MK blade steel, this cool apocalyptic two-tone finish, and a price of $352. The first Socom Delta RAM locks we saw were Marfione customs. It's good to see them now in kind of full production, finally coming to the site, because this Socom adds a ton of features that people have been begging for years. The original Socom's still in production, so fans of that will still be able to buy them. But this version gives the people what they've been asking for. We've got a tip-up clip, deep carry, ambidextrous. We've got a much thinner blade stock than the original Socom, and a finger choil. So lots of ergonomic options here. The finger choil really makes it easy to reach up and over the thumb ramp on the blade, grab that blade for precision and control. Plenty of handle length for the standard, pinch grips or hammer grips or what have you. And like the original, we've still got a glass breaker at the back there. So it's still a tactical design through and through, just kind of adapted, modernized, updated for today's knife market. Really cool to see. The RAM lock is awesome. Snappy action, strong, ambidextrous, works great. Yeah, I'm excited about this, and I really hope that they do a mini version. Speaking of mini versions, we also have new versions of the Mini MSI. Man, I really like this knife. I'm just gonna, we'll get personal for a second. I am waiting for a version of this for me to buy. It is top of my list right now of knives I want to pick up in 2026. This version is pretty tempting. It's got titanium scales, M390 MK, blade steel. This version is fully serrated, but we've got a bunch more on the website right now. All right around the $494 price point. The Mini MSI is just so sweet. I like the scale of the Mini even better than the original. I think the sheep's foot blade works really great at this scale. The thumb studs are, in my opinion, easier to use, which makes it more fidgetable. The RAM lock is great. You've just got it's cool to see Microtech like really committing to the manual knives these days. They mastered automatics. They're doing manuals now. The ram lock is sweet, and yeah, let's get more. Definitely one worth picking up. Whether you're a Microtech collector or strictly maybe someone who lives in a state where you can't carry an auto knife, check out the MSI, the Mini MSI. It's seriously good. If you wanted something with a similar blade shape, but it was actually a switchblade, these new ProTech Slimfoots that just came in might be right up your alley. This one's going to have a price of $280, and it is a limited edition from Blade Show West. Just came back from that show and picked up a number of ProTech exclusives and kind of short runs, unique pieces and such. We've got Slimfoots. We've got the new Peace Neighbor design. As you can see, we've got the new Chaves coming up as well, but let's talk about this one right here. This has MagnaCut blade steel, a 3.1-inch blade, aluminum handles, deep carry clip, and a mosaic firing button. This one is number 49 of 50, so this was a real short run that they did. Super snappy action. The blade has quite a bit of mass to it, I would say. You know, it's broad, almost cleaver-like, and then we've got a somewhat high saber grind that carries a lot of that mass towards the tip. So when this one fires, it flings that blade out. Just kind of throws it out. It's very satisfying. Simple handle, good ergonomics. I'm a big fan of Tough Knives designs, and this is one of his longest running knives. Cool to see it in this cool limited edition. All right, this version of the new Chaves Scapegoat from ProTech is extra special because it's doing a couple of things new. First of all, it has this brand new carbide handle texture, which we'll talk more about in a minute. It is also their limited edition stainless steel handle series, and it's got MagnaMax steel from the Proto Melt. So this is a very special piece, and it has an asking price of $760. This handle texture is incredibly grippy. You know, you could think of it being something similar to like diamond plate, but it's even grippier than that. It's almost bordering on sandpaper. Like I can push in and not move my thumb against that to give you an idea of just how grippy it is. It's very comfortable. I mean, wherever you put your fingers, it just sticks to it. And then, mercifully, they have milled a flat portion underneath the clip there. So thank you, ProTech, for not destroying our pants, but still giving us an incredibly grippy handle. Yeah. That is much appreciated. Let's fire that thing for the camera. Boy, it's just as fast, but the stainless steel kind of like absorbs some of the sound and impact, so it feels a little softer. Well, softer is not the right word, but the recoil, I guess you could say, is a little gentler on these stainless steel handles. Every bit as fast, though. Oh, and this one also has a looks like a black lip pearl button. Yep, very nice. Yeah, I'm not sure how many of these we have, but it's definitely limited to stock on hand. Benchmade dropped 3 new chef's knives this week. The first of which is this Master Utility. This has an asking price of $350, a blade length of 6.8 inches, and steel of CPM 154, and rich light and G10 handles. Benchmade's fixed blades, these are technically fixed blades. Benchmade's chef knives have been really popular, and I think it's because they ground them like chef's knives and not like hunting or tactical knives. They are genuinely thin behind the edge. And the CPM 154 steel is an excellent choice for that role because it is fairly tough thanks to the powder metallurgy process and highly stainless for the acidic environments you're going to encounter in a kitchen knife setting. This design is It's kind of like a more utility version of their station knife. So the station knife was super broad. This one's still quite broad, about as broad as most chef's knives are. But more, I hesitate to call it a santoku because the blade has this kind of upward curve to it that is more like a utility knife. But it's
Utilitoku.
Utilitoku. Yeah, I like that actually. With reverse tanto blade shape.
Good job.
Not a ton of rock on it, but definitely enough to get over some celery stalks or some herbs or something like that. This one feels like it's more of a kind of a push cut or chopping knife. Very broad to support, good technique, brushing against your knuckles as you're chopping. The handles are super comfortable. I love Richlight. I love the shape that they've given this. Yeah, it's a great size. This would be like the kitchen knife I would reach for first if I was doing any sort of random task. Yeah, feels great. And nice soft landing on it too. Next is the Benchmade Chef's Knife. Simple name for an instantly recognizable blade shape here. This is the quintessential 8-inch chef's knife Benchmade style. So we've got a price of $400, same blade steel, CPM 154. And I believe this version is just 2 different colors of G10 for the handles. Yeah, everybody needs a 8-inch chef's knife, and having one from Benchmade is pretty sweet. A lot more rock to this blade shape. As you can see, I'm able to get much higher up above the cutting board before I'm getting up to the tip there. The landing is really nice, especially. It doesn't clunk, It kind of stops you gently without too much springiness. I'm liking the way this one feels. Gentle curvature to the edge there. Nice dropped point. Just a do-it-all essential part of any kitchen, really. Rounding out the kitchen knife collection from Benchmade is the paring knife. This is Benchmade's take on a paring knife. We've got the same materials, CPM 154 steel, a price of $250 on this one. Richlight and G10 are what you see here. Yeah, this is, I think, it's a little big for actual paring tasks. Not so much in the length, but in the width of it. If I'm holding it like this and manipulating it around an apple or whatever. Personally, I prefer a little bit of a thinner blade for that specific task, but I would use a blade like this in my kitchen a lot more frequently. Because I would just use it like a little mini chef's knife for smaller items. If I'm mincing garlic, I want to be right close, very close to the work, use that tip. Perfect for that. Just quick things, making a sandwich, cutting an onion. A knife like this is perfect. And I think it's reflective of the modern paring knife style where we just admit that mostly what we're using with it is tasks on the cutting board and not technically paring. It's also nice, all of the Benchmade knives, kitchen knives, come with these molded sheaths. So if you wanted to chuck this in a drawer, store it that way, or better yet, like take it somewhere, out camping, put it in your car kit or whatever, the blade's going to be protected. You're not going to have to come up with some other storage solution for it. You can even kind of one hand open it. The last few folders on the table offer really good value, and the first of those is going to be this United Cutlery Bushmaster. This has S35VN steel and an asking price of $67.99. Hollow grind on this, blade length of 3.4 inches. Nice geometry to it. Saber, it's a saber hollow grind, so it's thick up towards the tip, but still has pretty keen edge. And then a nice blade shape that seems inspired from maybe a Scandinavian style survival knife. I'm not quite sure. We got kind of a fishtail here at the end. Nice curvature to the handle. It's a little bit sculpted, so it's quite comfortable with one caveat, which is that the inside of these liners are still pretty sharp. So if I was actually going to take this out in the field and use it, I would just gently break those edges with a file real quick. A couple of passes is all you would really need. But yeah, a comfortable handle shape to be sure. Snappy crossbar lock, nice and strong. It's actually a really good action. I believe it's running on ball bearings. Yep, The deep carry clip is non-reversible, so sorry lefties. But if you're right-handed, looking for S35VN at a great price and want a comfortable handle, check this one out. And last, we come to one of the most competitive budget brands on the market right now, Petrified fish, with some new variants of the Terra liner lock. This knife here is just $31.49. We've got 3.5 inches of D2 steel, a generously contoured micarta handle, and superlative liner lock flipping action. I mean, that is a drop shut. Look at that. Very satisfying. Hard to beat this action for the money. And the handle comfort too. I mean, the size of it, the curvature to it, the simplicity to the sort of just gentle swell and taper here. It's really comfortable. Definitely would support a good, hard-working session of long cutting. Nice texture to the handles too. You can still sort of feel the passes from the milling operation through the micarta. Gives it a little bit of texture to it, and very, very reassuring texture without being too grippy. And this beauty here is the Petrified Fish Viking, coming in at $62.09 with Damascus and olive wood. Really, really cool, both materials and design here. I like the overall silhouette of this. It's just got like a good like kind of speed to it, you know what I mean? It's sleek, but big enough to support good grip for sure. You can see easy to get all 4 fingers on. If I really scrunch up too, you can just see how much space is on this handle for actual work. The pocket clip is extremely deep carry, and it is ambidextrous too. So it mounts inside underneath the scales. As you can see here, these 2 screws can accommodate the clip on that side. The action, not quite as drop shut as on the Terra, but very smooth running on ball bearings. Front flipper deployment. Let's see if I can use that fuller to flick it open. Yeah, works pretty good. Not a lot of access there, so I think you need to have kind of skinny fingertips like me to make it work, but it does work. Nice nested liner lock for a very clean presentation. Just a stylish and excellent knife design. And last today is the Petrified Fish Scholar. Very clearly inspired by a straight razor blade.
Cheese knife.
Cheese knife, sure, why not? Actually, this would be great at cutting cheese, and I'll tell you why. It's got a high hollow grind to it, so that is ideal, I have found, for cutting, especially like soft cheeses. The hollow curvature to the grind kind of gives a bit of like friction relief from the types of materials that really stick to blades. So you may have been joking about cheese knife, but like this is what you want.
You never joke about cheese knives.
No, never. It's very serious. This is going to have a price of $64.79. It is also a front flipper, but it has some elevated touches here, like the milled pocket clip, the crowned spine and matching backspacer there, and these wood handles, Cocobolo wood, in fact. Pretty nice. The blade steel is also upgraded, 154 cm instead of the D2 or Damascus. Oh, look at that. I didn't even need to use the front flipper or any sort of fuller. The detent is set that I can actually just use the hollow grind itself as a place to brace my finger, flick it open. That's actually kind of nice. I like that. This flat spot here is plenty big enough to use as a finger choil. Yeah, if you like the look of this, if you kind of like those straight razor inspired blades, this is a pretty sweet option for the price. Well, that does it for this week's edition of New Knives of the Week. Thanks for sticking with us to the end, checking out all the awesome new knives that just hit our shelves. Links to all of these will be down in the description, and don't forget about our Knife Rewards program and our new payment options as well. We've got Sezzle, Apple Pay. Check them out. With that, I've been Seth V. That's Thomas behind the camera, and we will catch you in the next one.